If you've ever wanted to add solar to a flat roof without drilling any holes, this might be the simplest way to do it. I've been meaning to install these two 200-watt Renogy solar panels on the roof of my home office for a while now. There's the obvious benefit of the solar power they'll produce, but there's another advantage too, which I'll come back to later. Rather than drilling into my felt roof, which no matter how well it's done is always going to compromise the waterproofing, I've gone for what I think is a far safer solution. I'll also show you just how easy it is to make up your own MC4 cables and connect everything to a portable power station, my EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Plus that I reviewed recently. But this would work with pretty much any portable power station. If you've already got a portable power station that's sitting around for emergencies or only comes out for camping, this is a great way to get more use out of it. You can even have it acting as a UPS for your PC while charging from solar at the same time. The whole installation took me less than half a day from start to finish. I started off attaching 4 Renogy Z brackets to each panel. The brackets come with all the hardware for attaching the brackets to the panels. I installed 2 brackets on each long side. I then used concrete blocks as ballast. I decided half a block per bracket would be plenty. Each block weighs around 17 kilograms, so that'd still be 34 kilograms per panel. I split the blocks with a bolster chisel. It doesn't have to be perfect since the rough end can face inside. To protect the shed felt and provide additional grip, I cut 22 by 22 centimeters squares from some old carpet I had lying around. If you don't have any old carpet, a few offcuts of shed roofing felt should work just as well. Before fixing everything together, I positioned the panels centrally and towards the back of my 7.5 by 4 meter shed roof. There are large trees on either side, so this seemed like the best compromise. Positioning towards the back also keeps the cable run shorter, reducing the amount of cable I needed. It also leaves me more room to add more panels in the future. I placed the carpet squares pile side down to give the blocks extra grip on the felt. I then marked out the position of the Z brackets on each concrete block, drilled the holes and twisted in Fisher Duo-Power wall plugs. The supplied lag bolts that come with the brackets come with a plastic washer, but you can remove them for this installation. It's worth taking your time positioning the blocks before drilling any holes, because once the panels are bolted down, the whole assembly comes quite awkward to move on your own. You certainly can't just drag it across the roof, which is exactly what you want because it means it's going to stay put. That's the installation finished. It really is a straightforward job. Although I'm certainly no roofer, I did run this past a friend who owns a roofing business. He confirmed that this is a perfectly legitimate way of mounting panels on a flat roof without drilling through the waterproof membrane. Of course, it's up to you whether you want to add additional ballast depending on your roof, panel size and local weather conditions. But this setup has already been through some very windy weather without any issues. The panels already have MC4 connectors fitted, so you just need to make up some extension cables to reach your power station. I'm using 4mm squared solar cable, and I'll put links to everything I use in the description below. Although you might be able to do it without, you also really need an MC4 crimping tool. I've used iCrimp tools for various connectors and have found them to be good quality and good value. I have no connection with the company, I've just had good results with them. I'll also link to the MC4 connectors I used. I'll show you how to fit one MC4 connector because they're both assembled in almost exactly the same way. This is a female MC4 connector which uses a male crimp pin. The male MC4 connector uses a female crimp pin. Start by stripping around 10mm of insulation from the end of the cable and give the strands a slight twist so they don't catch. Place the pin into the crimp tool until it clicks into the first position. Then feed the cable into the back of the pin and squeeze the handles until the crimp is complete. Give the cable a firm tug to make sure it's secure. Don't forget to slide the gland nut onto the cable before assembling the connector. Push the crimped pin into the main body of the MC4 connector until it clicks into place. Give it another tug to check it's fully locked in. Then tighten the gland nut to compress the seal around the cable and you're done. You'll need to make up 2 cables in total, one for the positive connection and one for the negative. I then drilled 2 6mm holes through the wall of my home office, angled slightly downwards towards the outside to prevent any water ingress, and passed the cables through. I'll tidy this up properly later and seal them with some silicone, but the cables are already a snug fit, so it's perfectly fine for the time being. Once you've fed the cables through, you'll need to crimp on the MC4 connectors at the other end. If you're using a typical MC4 to XT60 adapter, you'll need a male MC4 connector on the positive cable and a female MC4 connector on the negative. In my case, I've done it the other way around because I'm using separate male to male and female to female MC4 adapters to connect to my MC4 to XT60 lead. Before plugging everything together, this is a good time to measure the open circuit voltage of your panels and decide how you're going to wire them. Here you can also just double check that your positive and negative are the right way round. My Renogy panels produce around 36 volts open circuit each, while the EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Plus has a maximum solar input voltage of 60 volts. Unfortunately, that means I can't connect the two panels in series, as they'll produce around 70 volts, exceeding the EcoFlow's limit. Instead, I have to connect them in parallel. To do that, I'm using these three-way MC4 branch connectors. They'll also make it easy to add a third panel in the future. Ideally, you should fit sealing caps to any unused connectors to keep out water and dirt. For now though, I've simply tucked the adapters underneath the panels until I decide whether I'm adding another panel. Connecting everything up to my EcoFlow, I'm seeing a peak solar input of over 300 watts around lunchtime under good conditions. The EcoFlow app is really useful because it lets you track your solar generation over time. So far, the best day's generation I've seen from this setup is 2.24 kilowatt hours, which is enough to fully charge a 2 kilowatt hour EcoFlow on its own. With the extra battery connected, it would take around 2 days of similar sunshine to fully recharge the whole system. I'm using EcoFlow's scheduled charging task to charge the batteries overnight during the cheap rate window on my Octopus Intelligent Go tariff, when electricity cost me just 7p per kilowatt hour. During the day, I'm running my portable air conditioner from the batteries, with the solar panels topping them up whenever the sun is shining. One important thing to note is that you'll need to enable Disable Grid Bypass in the EcoFlow app. Otherwise, it will simply pass mains power through your appliances instead of using the battery, so you won't make the most of your solar generation. There is another benefit to installing solar panels on the shed roof. The roof is constructed from particle board with an inch of insulation beneath it and a felt covering on top, but even so, the temperature of the ceiling inside can still get very high. Using my thermal imaging camera, I found that where the panels are mounted, there is a noticeable reduction in the amount of heat coming through the roof. With just 2 panels, the effect isn't huge, but if I add more panels, it should make a bigger difference, and my air conditioning unit won't have to work as hard. The home office gets incredibly hot. Even this 12,000 BTU portable air conditioning unit, which isn't very efficient because it only has a single hose, really struggles to keep it cool. So if I did add more panels in the future, I'll not only get the extra solar power, but I'll also reduce the amount of heat coming into the office. I'd love to hear what you think of this installation, so let me know down in the comments. If you've got any questions about the setup, or there's anything you'd like me to try or test in the future, please leave a comment below. I'll do my best to answer every question. If you'd like to see a follow-up video on the installation, perhaps trying to max out my EcoFlow solar input with additional solar panels, let me know in the comments as well. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Not only will you see my future videos on the latest technology, but you'll also catch that follow-up video when I make it. I know every YouTuber asks you to do that, but it really does make a difference. Every like, comment and new subscriber helps the channel grow, and it genuinely motivates me to keep making videos like this. You'll also find links in the description to the solar panels and everything else I've used in this installation. If you decide to buy anything through those links, it doesn't cost you any extra, and it really helps support both the channel and my website. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.